If you're looking for an SUV with 3 rows, a lot of available features, great efficiency, and even all-wheel drive availability, the Kia Sorento Hybrid might be for you. This 2022 Kia Sorento Hybrid even has a couple of updates, and we're going to take a full detailed look at the exterior, the interior, and get it out on the road for a test drive. I'm going to tell you everything there is to know about this Sorento Hybrid. Let's get started. Real quick before we get started, thank you so much for watching. My name is Nolan. I do full reviews like this every single week, but also if you want to skip around to different parts of the video, I put timestamps in the description below, so be sure to check for that. Also, I have a full review on the non-hybrid SX Prestige model if you want to see that as well. That's got all the bells and whistles, so be sure to look at that one after this. Let's get into it. Now just a quick look at the exterior. There are only 2 trims for this regular hybrid, the S and EX. I'll talk about a plug-in hybrid later, but up front you're going to get LED headlights. These are the reflector headlights, not as good as the projectors on upper trim levels. Then the EX trim will give us these LED fog lights, and you get a brand new logo for Kia for 2022. And this particular model is the red paint, which is called Runway Red, paired with these 17-inch wheels, but you can get 19-inch wheels on all-wheel drive models. Dimensionally, the Sorento is great. It's 189 inches long, so nowhere near as big as the Telluride and other 3-row vehicles, but definitely bigger than 2-row smaller vehicles. In the back, the Sorento gives you vertical taillights just like the Telluride, and then you'll get a matte or gloss black finish on the spoiler depending on the trim level. When you get to the back of the Kia, for the cargo area, the EX trim level will give us this smart hands-free liftgate. So with Kia, all you got to do is stand by the cargo area and have the key fob on you. It'll beep a few times and then it'll open up. You can turn this off or on. You can even adjust how fast this opens and how high it opens as well. Unlike the foot-activated ones though, you can't just leave and it'll automatically shut. You got to shut it yourself. Now let's take a closer look behind this third row. So this is where you're really going to sacrifice. There's not a lot of space back here, especially compared to larger 3 rows. You can fit a couple items back here if you need to, and it's super easy to fold these down. So pull this, headrest automatically goes, give it a little push, and boom, it's super flat. So you have a split fold, so you could still have somebody back here have this folded and have a decent amount of cargo space just in that folded section. But I even prefer this kind of fold over a power fold. I mean, it's just pull, headrest down, and then boom. It's super easy, and that is perfectly flat. So look at that. You can get up to 45 cubic feet with the third row folded down. I'll put all the specs below. And then underneath of here, you've got an extra little storage area, if you want to call it that. There's a little bit of space over there. Right here's your jack kit, and underneath the rear of the vehicle is the spare tire. So Kia gives us a couple things here. We've got these little hooks, which could be for cargo nets or grocery bags. And then over here, you've got a little slit like that as well. A couple of tie downs on each side. Then over here, you got a 12-volt power outlet, and you got power folding second row seats. So check that out. Push, and it goes down, ran into that front seat. Push that one, goes down, boom. Then with those folded, you get about 75 cubic feet. And for a vehicle of this size, this is really good and really impressive. And it's also pretty darn flat. I wish you had a bench seat option, but I'll talk about that in a second. But what do you think of all this cargo space in a smaller vehicle like this? Now moving into the seats on this particular hybrid model. So the hybrids are going to get leatherette standard, even heated seats standard, ventilated seats only on the Prestige model, but these seats are pretty comfortable. You can see the little bolstering right here. The headrests are not aggressive. The seats look nice themselves, and I like how you can get a lighter color if you want to. Then you've got 2-way lumbar support down there. This is a 10-way total power adjustment. And I was able to spend pretty good time in the non-hybrid model and in this one, and I've been comfortable the whole time. I really have 0 complaints with these seats. Now coming into the second row, first of all, right off the bat, you've got a nice, easy, accessible cup holder for second row kids or family, and one down there, and a nice big grab handle and padded armrest still. Unlike some vehicles, you don't find the pull-up sunshade right here though. But something to keep in mind, this hybrid only comes with captain's chairs, which is kind of surprising. So only captain's chairs, 6 passenger seats available on the hybrid Sorento. Sitting behind myself at 5'9", I've got really good foot space and really good knee space. Legroom is excellent in here. We'll get in the third row in a second, but air conditioning vents are even standard on this hybrid. Plus you've got a 12-volt power outlet and extra USB charging port. And look at this, each side of the seat in the front gets an extra plug-in USB charging port. I'm surprised there's no USB-Cs, but I don't even use those, so I guess these work for most people. In the middle, you get these ratcheting armrests, so both of the captain's chairs get these armrests, plus there's a little net storage pocket right here. These seats can slide forward and backwards as well, so if I have it all the way up right there, I can actually still sit here and be okay. And then these seats can also recline quite a way, so you can really get pretty comfortable back here. On this hybrid though, there's no heated seats for the second row. But if you need to use the third row or extra space, it's really easy for your kids to get in, or anybody. Push that button and boom, all on its own, that seat's gonna slide forward and give you quite a bit of space to get into the third row. Okay, now sitting behind this where it's all the way back, my legs are really elevated, as you can see, with this super low third row, but I can actually sit here somewhat with my legs, and I put that seat all the way forward, and there's quite a bit more space over there. So Kia did a great job with this third row, considering just how small this car is overall. And check it out, you've got a little area for storage, cup holder, USB charging ports, and those are actually on both sides. The one negative to this third row, you might think, if you have people back here or pets, is that the air conditioning vents rely on that second row vent. We don't have any vents for the third row in particular back here. The only negative about being back here though is that I'm 5'9", so I'm not very tall, and I can't sit back here because my head is pushing into the ceiling. If I kind of scooted up, I could, but my head is still digging in. So you gotta be kind of short to be able to sit in the back, way back. And it's still super easy getting out. You got another button right there. Boom, easy peasy. Now as we take a look at the interior, I'm gonna go through this fairly quickly, and there are a little bit of changes, but this is also just a very nice, practical interior and easy to live with. So first of all, over on the door, Kia's got this unique trim pattern on here, a really big grab handle, semi-soft material up above, down here too, and then a padded armrest and a really nice big bulky grab handle as well. There's a little bit of bottle storage down here, but it doesn't really work for wider bottles like this. You can open your trunk and adjust brightness and your lane keeping system here. I also like Kia's air conditioning vents because you have the regular ones that face you, but then you have some that go kind of towards your midsection or towards your butt. And the reason I like that is because those are low. Let's say you got a sweaty butt, just for example, or a cold butt. You can point those down at your butt. Now, the other steering wheel is standard on these hybrids. There's no hybrid with a heated steering wheel, but you can move up to the plug-in hybrid with the SX Prestige and get that. But this is a comfortable wheel to hold on to, and the controls are pretty easy. And you can see the new logo here for Kia. Push button start right over there, foot on the brake. And with a hybrid, sometimes the engine doesn't even start up right away. It just did there, but you've got a different gauge setup. So this is the standard setup on these hybrids, except the top SX. But we've got this charge and eco indicator over here. So when you're braking, it's gonna go down into the little charge section. So you know when you're charging up. And if you hammer on the brakes and it goes all the way down, then you know you're not getting the benefit of that. But you can kind of learn by watching that meter. And then in the middle here, there's quite a bit of information that you can scroll through. There's several different pages of information, driver assist stuff, more information here. So it is a really helpful screen, even though it is smaller than some of you might like, but I like the simple layout here. And then coming over, take a look at this. So this screen is a 10.25 inch screen. This is now standard on all of these, the S and EX hybrid models. So you still have kind of some touch sensitive buttons over here, a volume knob, a tuning knob, touch sensitive buttons over there. And then you get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on here as well. The one caveat is that it is plugged in, it is not wireless, it has to be tethered. And I'm a little bit confused because I thought for 2022, Kia had mentioned that it was going to be wireless, even on this big screen and even on the little screen as well, but then some of their information says that it's not wireless, so I'm not sure. You can have this be a split screen setup if you want, and I really like how they have actual shortcuts on both sides. This star, for example, can be used to, let's just say we go to the map, and then you can hit that star and go straight to whatever you want. And I have it set up for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's pretty easy to use and operate. There's a decent amount of customization. In fact, I haven't messed with the sound yet, but the sound on here, there's no Bose audio system like there is on the non-hybrid models available. Something to keep in mind. But let's shift into reverse. So we've got a backup camera and parking sensors. You actually get front and rear parking sensors on the EX, rear parking sensors standard on the base hybrid model. There's no surround view camera on this one, but on the Prestige, you can get that. And you can also get the mirror camera to where when you turn your blinker on, you'll see a camera next to the vehicle. Coming down, we've also got dual zone climate control with your automatic controls. This is kind of a touch sensitive area and there's a lot of piano black. Not a big fan of the way it looks, but it's still an easy layout and easy to operate. Down here, you can cover this up if you want. Well, you got your 3 different plugins, USB charging ports, all regular USB, no USB-C, but there is a wireless charging pad right down there, which is nice to see. So there's a good slot for your phone and other junk so it doesn't slide around. Heated seat buttons right there. And then the center console is pretty nice. I like these cup holders. They're large enough and small enough for different drinks. This is your shifter, then your drive mode selection for just smart, regular, and eco, and it defaults to eco drive mode. Parking sensor buttons, electronic parking brake hold, literally just a regular camera. You can just access your camera, not your 360 camera. Downhill descent, an extra little storage area right there, as well as right there. So I really like this center console and the practicality and storage that we have here. Now getting into the center console, first of all, this armrest is nice and padded, and it's pretty long too. It's a good size armrest. Good storage down below and an extra little storage. I just love all the little cubbies and spaces to organize things. There's some more of the trim on the dash and over at the door, and a locking glove box from Kia. Right overhead, Kia gives us a regular manual flipping mirror, and automatic dimming rear view mirror is only on the top trim. There's no sunglass holder overhead, and we don't even have a sunroof in this particular model, which is a little bit of a surprise. You can get panoramic roofs available. But the good news is these visors will slide all the way out, which is great. And let's take a quick look at visibility. So looking out the back, just to give you an idea, small little window back there. The second windows are pretty good size. Now under the hood for 2022, there's actually a couple things that are new. The biggest thing is that now the Sorento can be had in a plug-in hybrid with 32 miles of pure electric range and 261 horsepower. That's not the one that we have though. Let me show you this one. Under the hood here is the regular hybrid, the 1.6 liter turbo 4-cylinder paired with the lithium-ion battery and electric motors with 227 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque paired with a 6-speed automatic transmission. Another thing that's new for 2022 is that the Sorento Hybrid can now be had in all-wheel drive, so you can get efficiency and all-wheel drive and 3 rows, all for a pretty good value. Miles per gallon is excellent at 39 city, 35 highway, and 37 combined with this front-wheel drive model. So you've got 3 rows, you've got all the cargo space, 39 miles per gallon potentially in the city. That's fantastic, and it's just a little drop for all-wheel drive models. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get going in this Kia Sorento on this test drive. Now I want you to get a first-person look at what it's like to actually be driving this Sorento. Now this is the hybrid. If you're curious how the regular gas model Sorento is, I've got an SX review down below, so be sure to check that out, because there is definitely a difference between the peppiness of that turbo and this turbo hybrid model, but I'll talk about that in this test drive. So my first impressions on the Sorento is that it just still feels like a comfortable vehicle to drive, an easy vehicle to drive. The steering's not too heavy, the acceleration's not too slow, it's relatively soft with its ride comfort, and it's even a fairly quiet vehicle as well. If you're comparing this to the Telluride, obviously this is more efficient, but in terms of driving dynamics, the Telluride feels bigger because it is. It's a little bit softer in ride comfort, I would say, and it's a little bit quieter. But overall, I mean, this compared to other 3 rows, this is still competitive, even though it's a little bit smaller, easier to maneuver around and to park. Now with this hybrid, I'll talk a little bit about the hybrid system in this test drive, but there's moments where you'll be just electric power and moments where you'll have the gas engine on. Most of the time the gas engine will be on, and you can watch that a little bit on this display down here if you really want to as well. It'll let you know where the energy's going. So right now we are gas. The gas engine is charging the battery and powering the front wheels. If I let off the accelerator, then we start to get some regeneration of the, okay, now I put the accelerator down just a little bit. The battery is powering the front wheels. The gas engine is off. And then I accelerated a little more, the gas engine turned on. And it's pretty seamless. It's actually, I'm really impressed with it. It's really quiet when it turns on, unless you're at really low speeds. But it's not a huge jerk when it turns on either. So when driving this hybrid, you don't have to do anything. It'll take care of itself. It'll charge itself. It'll use electric power or gas power whenever it needs to. And the weight of the steering here is nice. The Sorento is just a very comfortable vehicle to drive. And then kind of just coasting along. The gas engine is charging the hybrid battery a little bit. I haven't gotten as good of MPGs as expected, but keep in mind, we have had snow and ice this week, so there's been bad traction, there's been more time warming up, so keep all of that in mind. But I also do a lot of interstate highway driving, and that's not the most ideal for a hybrid. Hybrids do really well in the city because there's a little bit more coasting time, there's more braking time to where the battery can be used more and charged more. So when you're braking, you watch the meter down here and it'll say charge. The needle goes into charge, and that's when you know you're recapturing energy with regenerative brakes. Now I just put us into sport mode. Let's go ahead and pedal down. Alright, so even though we got a smaller turbo hybrid powertrain, the horsepower and torque is still not bad at all on this model. It's definitely adequate. It's going to be totally good enough for most people, and you can feel a little bit of quick torque sometimes because of the electric power. So power is not lacking like it is on a base naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. One thing to keep in mind is that this has the Kia DriveWise smart cruise control and lane keeping system and all of that stuff. So I'm not going to let it do too much around this corner, but the lane keeping system works really well actually. It's one of the best if you really let it work on the mainstream, on these mainstream brands. I have a review with the Telluride as well as the Hyundai Tucson down below if you want to check that out. The smart cruise control is on the EX model here for the hybrids, but not the base S. But it does a really good job of keeping you in your lane, won't let you leave your lane, centers you pretty well, and it works great with the dynamic cruise control or the radar cruise control. You do have an eco mode or a smart mode. Smart mode will toggle between eco and sport, whereas eco will try to use as little gas as possible. So I'm going to kind of go into that eco mode, and you can get a little better efficiency with that. But I would say, like, daily driving this Sorento, the screen's in a good place, the climate controls are in a good spot, the steering wheel is comfortable to hold on to, there's cubbies and space and plugins galore all over the place. So it's a very practical, family oriented type of vehicle is the best way I would describe it. Now, as I usually do, let's get on the rough textured road. And you get a little bit of road noise in here, but it's really not bad. My decibel ratings for this on a rough textured road and an interstate high-speed road are both good for this class. They're not the quietest, but they're good. They're not loud either. So I'm perfectly happy with this Sorento. You can definitely hear more road noise right now, but it's really still not bad at all. This model does not have laminated glass. I don't know if the upper trims do, but the Telluride does. So if road noise is a high priority, go for that Telluride. The one thing I wish is that we had a dedicated EV mode in this regular hybrid to where you could just kind of go through EV mode at low speeds or kind of coast in EV mode at certain times. It doesn't have that. It'll go back and forth between EV and gas on its own. Like right now we're just in EV mode as it shows on its energy flow meter, but you don't have to worry about it, and that's one of the nice things about these regular hybrids. Now let's go ahead and wrap things up. So to wrap things up on this 2022 Kia Sorento, like I talked about in the beginning, you can get 3 rows, you can get great efficiency up to 39 miles per gallon in the city, all-wheel drive available, a lot of features available, and even now a plug-in hybrid for 2022 with over 30 miles of pure electric range. So this Kia Sorento really offers a lot. There's not a lot of competition in this class with 3 rows and this much efficiency in the all-wheel drive. I just got done reviewing the Toyota Sienna, which is a hybrid and can also have all-wheel drive. So they could kind of compete against each other, but they're for different people with different types of practicality. But would you go for the hybrid, the regular gas, maybe the plug-in hybrid? And which trim level? That SX Prestige I reviewed before, it's quite a bit more luxurious than this one and pretty darn nice. But this one still has a lot of good features. Let me know what you think below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, a thumbs up would be super helpful. Subscribe if you want to see more. We'll catch you next time.